So if you are the kind of writer who turns on their Mac, goes straight, very disciplined, goes straight to Pages or Word or Final Draft or where it is and never looks back until the end of the day, this 58 keys, not for you. But you're not that kind of writer, are you? You're the kind of writer who wants to get on writing, wants to start going, but you have to keep going through this. The Finder on a Mac. It's how you find your documents or your applications, anything. But actually, take a little time to look in the Finder because you cannot imagine how much more the Finder can do for writers than it first appears. Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 Keys, which as ever, as always, is for writers like you and me who use Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe because we have so much to talk about with these machines. This time, it's all about the Mac and it's all about the Finder, except it isn't all, because the Finder is so replete with so very many ways it can help us as writers that I've kind of closed my eyes and picked out just 5 things to say, yeah, all right, no, not quite. There was a bit of that. It wasn't 100% random though. These 5 are things that I use most often, or when I have needed them, have proved to be the most useful. So there's quick ways of getting to your current project, moving around your Mac, selecting files, copying things, renaming things, how to figure out what's taking up all the space on your Mac's drive. I could go on. So let me go on a bit. Let me show you, in fact. So this is a Finder window. Okay, I've set it to list view because actually I like it in list view so that because I can see more in one go. But there is also, under here there is icon view. And you can change the size of the icons as well. You can switch it to gallery view that does certain things. Oh, that's quite a. I look a bit unhappy there. Back to list. Obviously much happier. List view, I'm going to leave it on list for a bit. Everything I'm going to show you kind of works in them all, but it's easiest to see in list view. So, you already know, to find something to select it, you click on it, fine. And I'm sure you also know that if you do Command A, you can select everything, fine. What's less well known is you could quickly, we've just selected one or all of them, but you could equally quickly select some or most. Let's do some first. Let's do select all first. Right, that's everything, but I don't want quite everything. I do not want this one. What's that? 5 or 6 down. Don't want that at all. Boom. And actually, never going to touch that. No. Oh, made a mistake. I actually do want that one. It's that one I don't want. Hold down the Command key. Click to deselect something you don't want. Change your mind. Keep the Command key pressed down, click it again to reselect it. So you've already selected some, and then with the Command key, you kind of pick out the ones you don't want, and then if you change your mind, use the Command key and click to pick them back out again. But there's more. How about this? I utterly love that one. It's my favourite of all the files on my Mac, and actually I really, really like all of them from there down to there. In one go, you can select them all. And you do that by, let's click away, click on the first one you want, go down to the last one you want, hold down the Shift key, and everything between those two and including those two is selected. And once they're all selected, you can do the same thing about popping these things in and out. This works in the Finder, obviously, because I've just shown you. It actually works anywhere on your Mac where there's any kind of list like this. Any app that does lists, like I suppose Numbers would do it, To Do apps ought to do it. Anywhere that follows the Apple guidelines for making macOS work right will let you select all, some, most in exactly that way. And you can do it all in combination. So, I mean, I can't tell you how few times I've needed this, but when you do, it's really good. I want from there to there, but then I want from there to there, plus that one. I don't want that. I don't want that. I've changed my mind about that one and that one. Let me walk through that again because I realise actually I have done it often enough that it's really quick for me. Clicked on the first one, shift clicked on the next one that was in a row with it, and then held down the command key, clicked on the next thing I wanted, held down the shift key and clicked it on there. And then it's the same thing again of command to unpick the ones you want or to re-pick the ones that you want. I said you could select all or some or most or whatever, and then you could copy them or you could drag them somewhere. You could actually open them all. You can select 1,000 files, say, go on then, open the lot. The Mac will actually say, all right. But yeah, it'll warn you. You could also do this one. This one is rare. Of course you know about opening documents. Of course you know about copying them and dragging them. But this one is rare. I mean, I've no idea how long the Finder's been able to do this. You can rename a whole set of files in one go. I know it hasn't always been there because for years I've been using an app to do it. It's only occasionally I need to rename 100 files, but it comes up, particularly after I've been on a research trip, a writing research trip, and I'm taking loads of photographs. And they're on the iPhone as IMG 4926, something really memorable. And you want to select them all and say, yeah, they're all from Woburn Abbey research trip, Birmingham Central Library research trip, something like that. Suddenly remembering when we used to be able to go out and do research trips all the time. Anyway, I used an app called A Better Finder Rename, and I still have it. I'll still use it. It's still very powerful. But in recent years, the Finder has added the ability to mass rename files really simply, really well. Unfortunately, it's so simply that I bet you anything you haven't seen this before. I mean, how many hours a day do I spend in the Finder? And I was really surprised when I found this one. I look at these files here. You notice they're all prefixed with the number 79. This is a project, actually it's 58 keys, this video thing. I prefix every file to do with it with the number of the episodes, so obviously so I can find them again. But actually, I think from here to here, that's not episode 79. No, that's episode 999. Having selected them all, right click, command click, or just on the right part of your trackpad, bring up the pop-up menu, choose rename. That's a replace text option. I want to add text. I've already started this out. Yeah, well, let's say 9,999 then, 9999. Notice down here, here's an example of what one of the file names would be, and that's horrible. That's ugly. Remember to add a space. No, it makes sense. And this is before, but I could do it after. Not sure if I find much use for that, but it's possible. I have suffixed things with the date somewhere before. Is suffixed a real word? Yeah, work with me on that one. Choose whatever you want, like this, add text. We'll get to these other two in a second. I'm just going to rename all of these from 79 to 999979, and I'm going to Command Z to undo it all. There is also this option. I'm not going to go into all of these because I want you to have a fiddle about with this yourself. As well as adding text, you saw we can replace text. So I could say, well, actually, let's do this because this one really is useful. Replace 79 with, there you go, it's done them all. And again, Command Z to do the lot. And what was that other option? There was a much more complicated option, which frankly I've never used, about formatting things. It's where you can start numbering. So that IMG 4986, whatever it is, I take 100 of those, I rename them to Birmingham Central Library, and the Finder can say Birmingham Central Library Research Trip 1, 2, 3, as you need, automatically. There's actually one more thing you can do by command clicking on things. You know, I said with the list, you can command click to deselect and then reselect. Well, if we just look at one file, like this one, for example, and I bring up the pop-up menu through right-clicking on a mouse, command clicking with the keyboard or just the right spot on the trackpad, down here, there's quick actions. So this is an image file. Without opening the image file in any image editor, I could choose to rotate it. I could make it into a PDF. It's a PNG format. I can change it to JPEG if I want to send it to somebody who can't use PNG for whatever reason. The rotate left and right, there's actually, if you hold down the Option key, We notice how that changes between rotate left and right. You can just take that image and rotate it, and you can select loads of them and rotate them all. I have this. There's a certain project I do where all of the images seem to come in 90 degrees out of whack, and I do not know what I'm doing. But now I can select them all and go, ooh, and then carry on with whatever else I need to do. The thing with quick actions though is I chose that file carefully, so you would see 4 options here. If I pick on another one, I don't know that we'll see any quick actions at all. Okay, there's some, trim. If it's a video file, you can trim the start and the end for it without opening QuickTime or a video editor. There are other files where you go to quick actions and it says nothing at all other than customize. It changes depending on what type of file you're looking at or what type of files, when there's a lot of them. And it changes because you can create your own through Apple's automated services, which is a whole other topic, but you can do it. I think the fact that it changes, and I think the fact that you can customize it and that you can add to it, it means it's not as obvious where to go to get the thing you want. But when it is the thing you need, quick actions are so much faster than opening up an app in order to do some commonplace basic things that it is really worth getting used to having a look when you're doing a lot of work on files in the Finder. This sidebar area here, this is a list of shortcuts to your items. I have worked with people, reasonably experienced Mac users, who've come to believe, I think quite reasonably really, that this is where their folders actually are. That if they need to copy a folder, back it up somewhere, that they start by going to here and then dragging off to somewhere else. They're very frustrating when they find that what they've dragged off is basically a little alias, a little pointer to things rather than the files they thought. This is like a series of shortcuts, and most specifically, it's a series of shortcuts. It's a menu to folders of where you want to go. Click on a folder, and off you go to it. I mean, I use this so often I don't think about it, but actually, oops. Well, apparently I can't find everything I used to drag to. That's quite, given where we are in the year, that's quite worrying. I might look into that. I wonder what I'm going to be doing after you and I have finished talking. Yeah, anyway, so put that out of your mind. This is the sidebar showing you shortcuts for things. This is the window showing you like where you are now. And you change the shortcut, you click, and the window changes to it. Fine. This is really meant for any folder you've got. So actually, look away from this, don't see that. Okay, FEU. Unfortunately, no longer functioning company I used to work for. I had lots of commissions for them and I loved it, but it's gone. Let's pretend they've come back. That'd be nice. And I'm again doing a lot of work for them. Click and hold, drag the thing, drag the folder to somewhere, and let go. And I can get rid of it same way. Or actually, if I drag it in again, notice what changes. The line means it will go in between these two. The highlighted line means it will go within that folder. So I'm not putting a shortcut here. I am navigating to where I want things to be. And I'll say I want to put it there. From now on, here I am in a 58 keys episode folder. Click on the FEU. There I am in the things for them. Actually, I will get rid of that because I love the FEU. It's very depressing that it's gone. Lack of funding. Well, funding was taken away by the UK. Let's not go into that. That's yeah. Anyway, applications. That's a safe one. We'll stay in applications for it. It's meant for folders, and I think that makes sense. Yes, today I want to go to the script I'm working on today, but really, what I want to do most of the time is go to all of my scripts and then pick out the one I want. You can add a particular document, a particular application to this sidebar, but Apple kind of discourages you from it. You saw how you drag on a folder. Well, if you try to do it with a file or an application, you have to hold down the Command key first and then drag. No Command key, no moving of applications or folders. Or files. And as soon as you click on that, it launches. The thing with having shortcuts to the folders is, yes, it cuts out the fiddling around. I have all my scripts in a folder, yeah, but I have I have a script folder in a writing folder, and I have my writing folder in a work folder. You've done the same thing. It's folders within folders within folders. It's a mess. And what the sidebar is, yeah, forget that. Straight to the folder you want. Great. But you've got to find it first, haven't you, in order to put it in the sidebar. And there are times, I mean, there's got to be a limit here, isn't it? There are folders that I use all the time, like my tax one. There are folders that I never use. I mean, once in 1,000 years or something. And clearly I don't want to put those in the sidebar. But there are all these in the middle where it's not worth putting it in the sidebar, but it's still a royal pain trying to find them. Here's a way that you can more quickly find a folder, just to find it or to put it into the sidebar. Have a look at this, please. I'm going to go to this production folder. Okay, so you see up here the title bar for it. If I click and hold on there, with actually right click on the mouse, this is the current folder, that's the folder it's in, that's the folder it's in, that's the folder it's in. Oops, I can go all the way through to it, or I can hit back to go to where I was, forward to go to where I will be. This list here is a path, it's a route from the top level of your computer down to the folder you want, and it's really handy to be able to see where that is sometimes. So excuse me, instead of going into a folder and clicking up to find the path, we can do this instead. Now let me just nip over here. With that window selected, we're in the Finder, we have any Finder window opened. You go up to the View menu and choose Show Path Bar. And now if you look down here, there's that same path. So just as it is there one by one, here it is in a line, and that actually looks more like a path to me. But just as you can click on one of these to go straight to it, you can click on one of these to go straight to it. There's the folder. I mean, I like that a lot. But let's go back to that episode production one. See if I can go any further into this. Any other folders in here? Whenever you want to show somebody something, you never quite get. In regular use, I've seen this much more pronounced than you're about to see it now, but you'll get the idea for this. Here is another folder, another 58 keys folder. Here's the long list of folders in it. This is in that folder, is in that folder, is in that folder, and so on. And as I say, if I double click there, that folder will open. So it's handy for finding things. You searched maybe across your Mac, you found this file, and the path shows you the file, the folder, and then you click on the folder. You can drag that folder to the sidebar, or you can just look at what else. So I remember it's all in the folder where I had this. That's how you would do a search on this, and that will let you into the parent folder, if you like. But that's quite readable, isn't it? It doesn't have to be though. If I cheat and make this smaller, you see how it becomes unreadable until you move across each one. It's slightly more fiddly. Yeah, it takes ages just kind of scrolling out to see which one it is I want, but it shows you, and then you can go straight to it. So again, so in the Finder with a Finder window open, if we go to the View menu, and this time choose Show Status Bar, this happens. Get a list of the number of items in the folder and the amount of space left. Don't underestimate the use of that number of items. There have been a few times when I've been working on the same project in two places, or very similar versions, and I needed to copy over 50 files between them. When that item says there are only 48, I know something's wrong. I know I've made a mistake. It doesn't happen often, but it's happened often enough that I've remembered to tell you. Much more common, almost practically burnt into my memory really, is this: how much space is available. Because I used to work on a Mac Mini that had far too little space, and it was routine throughout the day. Things were slowing down, problems were happening, look to see, is there enough space left that I can carry on working? That's how it would tell me, yes, there is. And that's how it would tell me, no, there isn't. That was really routine. When you have your work is pressing, space is a premium, you want to find the biggest files you can and get rid of those if you can. So how do you find out the size of individual files for it? Well, actually, let's have a look here at this Finder window. here is a list of the size of all of those items in this folder. If I click on that one, you notice it reordered it. You see this little arrow here. So click on it in that way, and it is biggest at the top, smallest at the bottom. Click there, other way around. Or similarly with the name, you won't see as much of a movement here because they all begin with the same numbers, but it is there. Date modified. What's the oldest one? What's the newest in this folder? Actually, I use this quite a lot. In fact, also I use kind quite a bit while we're here. That just sorted everything so that all the MPEG movies are together. If I had loads of on the outliner documents, they'd all be together, Word ones. So quite often I will do a search for a particular image in a folder, and that's how I will do it. You may, well, you certainly can do, but you may not be able to do it immediately because you may not have those same columns. Then you surely you'll have the name, but you may not have the date modified, the size, the kind, or other things that you could use in this way. What you do to get them is you choose the view menu again, and you choose show view options, or Command J when you're in the Finder. Let me bring this in here where you can see it. This is what I'm really interested in, show columns. Date created, click that. Now actually, at the way there's date created, you get the idea. There are these various options you can have. These are the ones I tend to use. The name, when it was last piddled about with, how big it is. And I leave kind around because often enough I have very similar named files and it will help me distinguish between them. But it's certainly kind is least important to me. Let's pretend though that actually it's most important to me. Click on the kind column and just drag it over here. You can make whichever column you want appear and then sort it in any order you want. Having done it in this window, by the way, that's it. It's like this in every Finder window until you decide to change it to something else. Right. So I started by saying that you could sort by size and then told you that all these other columns you can equally sort by. Let's go back to the size thing for a minute because there's a small problem. Take a look at this different window. This is another 58 keys window, and here if I search by size, I can, yeah, it's done it. There are the 3 files that happen to be in here, sorted by the very biggest to the very littlest. But there are all these others, there are all of these folders. I used to go into each folder and do the same thing, sort by size, see what was big, delete whatever I could. But that meant, how many are there? If I shift select, 8 of 11 selected, I used to go into those 8 folders or whatever it was, one at a time, and check each of them. And if they have folders within them, I went into each one of those. So it was awful. It was insane. And instead, all I had to do was this. Click on calculate all sizes. Instantly, there it is. You see it's changed the order because that episode production folder is much bigger than that one-off video file there. It's worked out all of them. If you already knew that, why didn't you tell me? That saved me so much time recently once I stumbled across that. And if you know something else, why don't you tell me in the comments below? I'd be so grateful for that. Look, you don't switch on your Mac in order to play around in the Finder. You switch it on to write. Or check Wikipedia. But the Finder is always there. And it actually startles me how much the Finder can do for us. And it shocks me how few of us make use of it as much as we can. That's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Thank you very much for watching it. Do subscribe and take care of yourself, hey? I'll see you soon.